All right, so what we're going to do at this point is we are actually going to code a program together that uses classes. So we're going to use an embedded style sheet just so we can do this a little more quickly. We'll do external style sheets later on in this unit where we'll actually link everything together. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the following program. So we're going to make an embedded style sheet that contains the following styling for paragraph tags, the following styling for paragraph tags with a class called small green, paragraph tags with a class called big blue, and then a class for any tag that's just named giant purple. And then we'll actually add some things into our body and we'll see how those stylings take place. So to start, let's just look at the paragraph tag because that's what we're going to style first. So we have our paragraph tag here, and what we're going to do is we're going to give it a color of red. So remember, red or color colon red, and then the semicolon comes after it. And then from here, we're also going to add in a font size that is equal to 14-point font. And then we're also going to give it a font weight, and this is probably a new one. This is where you maybe want to reference that handout that's in the bin up front because it'll give you a lot more options for styling, but we have font weight, and we're just going to give it a font weight of bold. So there's our styling for our paragraph tags in general. Note that we're just doing a plain paragraph tag, so there's no class that's involved. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to style a paragraph tag, but we're going to style paragraph tags with the class name of small green. So remember, we do the tag dot, and then the class name is going to be small green. So this is saying that all paragraphs with the class name of small green will get the following stylings. And here, if we look over at our little cheat sheet over here, we're going to have a color of green, then semicolon. We're going to have a font size that is 10-point font. And then we're also going to have what's called a font variant. So you'll notice this if you look in your handouts as well. There's a font variant and a font variant of small caps. And what this will do is it will actually write your paragraph text in with small caps. So notice here we have a color of green, size 10-point font, and a font variant of all caps. Now we're also going to style paragraphs with a family or a class name, of big blue. So we have our stylings there. And then from here, we're going to give it a color of blue. We're then also going to give it a font size of 18-point font. And we're also going to give it a font family of Cambria. So we're going to change the text family that we're using as well. So here we've styled paragraphs with a class name of small green, and paragraphs with a class name of big blue. So notice how we're using that dot class name to help us out. Now the last one is going to just be for any single tag that has the class name of giant purple. So we're going to have no tag before the dot and just do giant purple. And then from here, we're going to have a color of purple. And then we're going to have a font size of, let's do 30-point font. And then white background is silly because by default, we're going to have a white background. So maybe let's do a pink background instead. So here we're going to do a background. I'm going to indent that a little bit or get it aligned a little bit better. So we have a background color that is going to be pink. So we've now added in all of our styling. So here's our embedded style sheet, and we've styled paragraph tags with a class of small green, with a class of big blue, and with a class just of giant purple and no tag associated with it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add some code into our body tag. Now what I'm going to do is going to seem a little bit weird. I'm going to code 4 heading tags and 4 paragraph tags and add in different combinations of classes so we can see what's actually going to happen. So here I'm just going to write H1 with no class because I have no class in my H1 tag. Then I'm going to do the same thing but do a class name that's equal to small green. So I'm going to give it the class name of small green and see what happens when I have h1 with small green class. But remember, we talked about previously that our way of linking things to the classes that we've created is to use the attribute class with the name of the class that we'd like to link the styling to afterwards. So here we have h1 with big blue class. And here we have h1, we have giant purple. We have h1 with giant purple class. So we've created 4 different h1 tags. This one is just h1 no class. We have h1 with small green, h1 with big blue, and h1 with giant purple. And now we're going to do the same thing with the paragraph tags. So we have maybe p with no class. And then we'll do the same thing, but this time we'll give it a class that's equal to big blue. So small green comes first, my bad. So small green. So P with small green class, and then close it off. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll do P with a class of big blue. We have P with, oops, I didn't close my quotation there. For P with big blue class. And then we'll also do the giant purple. We'll do P with giant purple class. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to run this code. So make sure you have this in full because I will be checking off this program and that you have it completed. So we've now added in paragraph, paragraph small green, paragraph big blue, and then a giant purple class as well. And then down here, we're going to test it out. We're going to say h1 tags with no class, small green, big blue, giant purple, and then paragraphs with no class, small green, big blue, giant purple. So now if I run this in Chrome, what you'll notice is that we have h1, no class, small green, and big blue. These are all the same. Now, if we look down here, we can see we have paragraph with no class gets that red font styling with the 14-point font and it's bolded. Then if we look at the green, it's small green, 10-point font in all caps. It's got that styling. Big blue is blue 14-point font and Cambria. And then giant purple has the pink background for both, 30-point font for both, and it's purple writing. Now, some of you may be wondering is why is there no stylings for these first 3? Well, if you look very, very carefully here, these are all paragraph tag specific. So this is saying paragraph tag, paragraph with the name small green, and paragraph with the name big blue. So what happens here is these will only happen if you have the paragraph tag first. So paragraph tag with small green, paragraph tag with big blue, paragraph tag with giant purple. What happens with the giant purple, however, is that there's no paragraph tag in front of it. We made this one a little bit different. The lack of any tag in front of it allows the giant purple class stylings to be applied to any tag. And that's why you see here in the H1 class or in the H1 tag and the paragraph tag that when we included the class name of giant purple, the stylings occurred. So noting those little differences in the syntax and noting how you write your class definition really does matter. If you write a class definition with no tag, then it's going to be allowed to be used for any tag. If it has a tag before the dot, then those class names can only be used and these stylings can only be used with that particular tag. So just noting those little differences. And if we wanted to style an H1 with those names, that would be allowed. We'd have to do H1 dot small green, and then we'd have to give it its own stylings. We have to say color equals green, just as an example. So if we do that here, and now if we save it and we upload it, you'll notice H1 with the class name of small green, now it will work. So noticing that if we have it in general here, it can be applied to any tag. And then otherwise, if it has the tag in front of it, it needs the tag and the name as well. So make sure you get this particular program checked off by me, and then you can move on to the Khan Academy lesson with IDs.